the book of Luke, chapter 21 and verse 19. In your patience possesses ye your souls. Kohalor Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai Bahasham Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone who teach in Ruel, peace and infinite salutations to the elect that are scattered abroad doing this work in truth and in sincerity. I'm the brother Abal Gabar from the Camp Company of Prophets here in Tampa, Florida, coming at you with a lesson, Lord willing, inspiring to the hopeful elect. All right, let us obtain the divine patience of Noah. Okay? And today, I was on the road and I was just thinking about, crying out to the Lord, how long, how long do we gotta endure this? And the first prophet that came to my mind was Noah, because he was out there for 120 years prophesying, to a wicked generation. All right. So that took divine patience, man. So even in this life that we live, as we wait for these prophecies to be fulfilled, the mark of the beast, Jacob's trouble, which we see the light at the end of the tunnel, we have to obtain that divine patience that Noah had. All right, being able to wait, understanding that it's not on our time, when the prophecies are going to be fulfilled. It's all divinely inspired by Yahweh Shemi Oshai. We are living according to the Lord's timing. Okay? And through this suffering, okay, it actually gets us closer to Yahweh Shemi Oshai, man. But long suffering is a godly attribute that we got to obtain, and it helps us enduring this thing. If you lose patience, ultimately you're not gonna make it. All right, and we got to remember that at the end of the day, we on the Lord's timing, man. Yeah, we want Yahweh Shemi Oshai to bring the end this year, as we have hope that the end is going to come very soon. But we also, as you enduring this thing, this truth of ours, you also have to be ready to, if needs be here as long as the Lord wants us to be here, man. Be ready for the long haul, mentally. Now, clearly, like I said, when you see the signs, we at the end, man. I don't see this place going on for another 3, 4, 5 years, 10 years, man. Ain't no way with all the prophecies that are taking place. Okay, but we also got to remember that it's based on the Lord's timing. Okay? So, let's go to Genesis, the 6th chapter, okay? Real quick. This is Genesis. Let's get Noah, okay? And during the time of Noah, which I got this picture on the background, right? It says Noah looked insane until it started raining. Don't worry what the world thinks. Keep preaching and posting. Right? And during the time of Noah, it never rained on earth before. All you had was the dew, like when you wake up and you have, the grass is wet. That's all that took place back then. All right? So Noah was out there, telling people there was going to be a massive flood that's going to flood the whole earth, and, everybody's going to die. And he did that for 120 years, and people looked at him like he was crazy, like he was insane. All right, well, guess what? We coming in the stead of Noah. Okay? We out there telling people it's going to rain. This time it's going to rain missiles, which this world has never seen a nuclear missile drop. So people think that we're insane, conspiracy theorists, right? Hey, if Noah was on Earth today, they would think he was a conspiracy theorist, man. You know? But we have to endure the suffering, okay? So we can obtain the glory, man. So let's go to Genesis. Real quick. The book of Genesis. Let's go to Genesis 6 and 3. Let's go to Genesis 5. All right. So this is Genesis 5. I'm going to go to the last verse. All right. It says, and Noah was 500 years old, and Noah begot Shem, Ham, and Japheth, which everybody on earth comes from one of those three sons, either Shem, Ham, or Japheth. Okay, the Israelites come from Shem, right? So it says Noah was 500 years old, all right? Back then, you know, we lived a longer lifespan, all right? Now going to Genesis chapter 6 and verse 5. Let me see. Actually, I'm gonna Genesis 6 and 3. It says, and Yahweh said, my spirit shall not always strive with man, for that he also is flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. Okay? And that 120 years was how long Noah was out there prophesying until the flood came and took everybody away. All right? And when you go to Genesis chapter, let's go here real quick to prove that during that time it never rained. I believe it's Genesis chapter 2 and verse 5. Yeah, Genesis 2 and 5. All right. I'm going to start at 4. It says, these are the generations of the heavens and of the earth when they were created in the day that Yahweh, the Most High, Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, made the earth and the heavens, and every plant of the field before it was in the earth, and every herb of the field before it grew. For Yahweh the Most High had not caused it to rain upon the earth, and there was not a man to till the ground, but there went up a mist from the earth and watered the whole face of the ground. So before the time of the flood, you know, it ain't never rained before. All you had was the mist when you wake up and you see like the mist on the grass. Okay? So Noah was out there, man, building an ark, man, building a boat. You got to imagine this. Think about how, you know, in the eyes of these worldly people, how crazy Noah might have looked, man. Just like how people look at us crazy while we out there telling people there's going to be a nuclear war. Missiles are going to drop. All right? America's going to be a lake of fire. People look at us crazy. Just like how they looked at Noah crazy. All right? It ain't never rained before. And Noah was out there building a gigantic boat. And, you know, people was walking by him, you know, seeing this man. They call him, damn, this is a madman. He's saying there's going to be a flood. And he was doing that for 120 years. And let's go to it. This is Genesis. What is it? The next chapter? Genesis, yeah, Genesis 7 and 6. It says, and Noah was 600 years old when the flood of waters was upon the earth. Okay? So he was 500, you know, when he begot Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And then at 600 years old, that's when the flood came. So he was out there for 120 years prophesying. Okay? And that took divine patience, man. So let us obtain that patience, being able to go out there And, even in this life, we have great examples of the elder apostles, starting with Elder Apostle Tahar, 40 years. Elder Apostle Gabar, 30 plus years. All right. All the elder apostles, okay, been out there for years. And then you had, the year 2000, the elder apostles always go into the story, back at One West, there was a doctrine that was being taught that at the year 2000, the Lord was going to come back. All right. And when the year 2000 came, you had a whole bunch of guys that went back into the world because, the Lord didn't come back. But our apostles stayed strong, man. Which that's prophecy as well. Let's grab that real quick. Luke, all right. Luke chapter 17 and verse 22. And he said unto the disciples, this is Yahushai, the days will come when ye shall desire to see one of the days of the Son of Man, and ye shall not see it. All right. And that happened back in the year 2000, a major doctrine that was being taught, and they try to frame it like it was just the elder apostles of Tahar. No, that was a doctrine that was being taught in One West, as the elder apostles always go into. All right. And when the year 2000 came, a bunch of guys fell out because what? They lost patience, man. But the elder apostles, they maintained the faith, so that's a great example of patience, of divine patience, man. And I'm going to go to the Chat GPT. Okay. And I'm going to type in, can you describe divine patience? And let's see what it says. And this is what we got to remember as we get closer to the end, regardless of how long we got to be here for, we got to finish the race. All right. We all want to get out of here, man. Yesterday, man. We want to be out of here yesterday, but we got to continue to fight the good fight of faith. All right. Divine patience generally refers to the extraordinary patience attributed to a divine being, usually God, characterized by qualities that exceed normal human patience. There you go. And the elect are what? Not ordinary mortals, man. Okay? So let's get to the scriptures. Let's go here real quick. Let's go to 2 Peter 2 and 5. It says, and spared not the old world, but saved Noah, the 8th person. All right. So the Lord didn't spare the old world. When the Lord said there was going to be a flood and he was going to wipe everybody out, the Lord did exactly what he said he would do. And that's why you have what you call, Pangea? The split of the continents. You just Pangea. Yeah. Because when you look at all the continents, it looks like at one point they all fit perfectly together, which they did. And when the Lord brought the flood, that's why you have the continents, that are all spread apart. That flood, which is the first death in the scriptures, changed the earth, literally. And in the second death, when the nuclear missile, when the World War III and the missiles hit, the earth is going to be changed as well. All right. We're going to, as the scriptures say, we look for a new heaven and a new earth. The earth is going to be renewed, refreshed. Okay. But 2 Peter 2 and 5, and spared not the old world, but saved Noah, the 8th person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly. So Noah was what? A preacher of righteousness. Noah was a prophet. All right. And he was out there for 120 years prophesying. All right. The flood. And people was looking at people was looking at his ass crazy. Like, who the hell is this guy? building this big ass boat. We ain't never, he's talking about water gonna come from the sky. We ain't never seen that in my life. You know? Noah looked insane until it started raining. Noah looked crazy until it started raining, man. And you better believe when that rain started coming, people was looking for Noah, man. They was trying to get on that ark. But the Lord is the one who shut that ark. Even if Noah wanted to open the ark, the Lord is the one who shut that ark, man. Noah couldn't even open the ark if he wanted to help people. All right? Because people in that time were wicked as hell, man. Just like now, we live in a wicked generation. So when his judgment comes, you know, people going to be looking for the prophets. But 2 Peter 2:6, in turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them with an overthrow, making them an ensample unto those that after should live ungodly. Okay? So you see what the Lord does to wicked kingdoms, man. The Lord has constantly brought judgment. So you think it's going to be anything different with America? No, the Lord's going to bring mass judgment to this place, man. And the final plague is going to be them nuclear missiles, man. America is going to be turned into a lake of fire. All right? And that's what we out there preaching and prophesying, man. And people look at us like we crazy, just how they looked at Noah. But that's all right. All right? And this all ties into what? Divine patience, man. Having godly patience, man. Being long-suffering, which is a godly attribute, man. Which we need, especially coming into the time of Jacob's trouble when all hell is getting ready to break loose. We're going to have divine patience, man. Which is what the Lord is preparing us for. All right? Like I said, yeah, I was driving today and I was just asking the Lord, like, how long, Lord? How long we got to... And I do this like every day through the Spirit. Crying out to the Lord, how long, you know? And guess what? However long the Lord wants us to be here, that's how we going to be here, man. And we got to remember that. He that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved. We got to continue to fight. Good soldiers of Yahweh Shemi Awashai, man. 2 Peter 2:7, it says, and delivered just Lot. Let me read 6 again. It says, and turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them with an overthrow, making them an ensample unto those that after should live ungodly, and delivered just Lot, vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. And that's just like Lot. He was vexed, you know, annoyed at the filthy conversation of the wicked. And that's the same thing. That's the same way we are, man. The men of Yahweh Shemi Awashai, we're constantly vexed, crying out to the Lord. Like, how long we got to deal with this shit? How long we got to see these damn moles? How long we got to eat GMO foods? How long we got this devil ruling over us? Right? Vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. Verse 8, for that righteous man dwelling among them, and seeing and hearing, vexed his righteous soul from day to day with their unlawful deeds. And that's the same thing we go through. Okay? And we're going through that because all of this that we're going through is building up our patience. Long suffering. It says, the Lord knoweth how to deliver the godly out of temptation, and to reserve the unjust unto the day of judgment to be punished. Yeah, and that's what we're hoping for. To be delivered out of this major temptation that's coming upon the earth. Because if you don't have patience in the time we coming into, when the mark of the beast is out here, you know, you're not going to make it. You're going to end up taking that chip. All right? You're going to end up taking that chip, man. So let's go here real quick. Let's go to Romans chapter 8 and verse 22. For we know that the whole creation groaneth and travaileth in pain together until now. And everybody catching hell, man. But the only ones that understand and are going to endure through this hell and this fire that we going through is the elect. But the whole earth is mourning right now, man. When the wicked bear fruit, the people mourn. Everything is mourning. The animals, the trees, the air, the water, you know, the people, everybody's mourning. Okay, everybody's in pain. Everybody's sick, right? Verse 23, and not only they, but ourselves also, which have the first fruits of the Spirit. See, that's the difference. We have the first fruits of the Spirit. We understand this suffering. We understand the prophecies in the scriptures. We understand the future. We understand the past. We understand Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, man. These people are suffering and they don't know why. You know? We have what? The first fruits of the Spirit. It says, even we ourselves groan within ourselves. And that's why, you know, you might be going throughout your day and you just, out of nowhere, your spirits just start crying out to the Lord. Like, man, how long, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai? You know? Like, damn, man, I'm tired of this shit. Right? That's the Spirit. That's your spirit crying out, man, to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. Why? Because you vexed. All right? Which, that, you know, that's a trial of your faith. You know? A trial of your faith, man. Your faith is on trial. All right? It says, even we ourselves groan within ourselves, waiting for the adoption, to wit, the redemption of our body. Right? We're waiting to be changed into them new heavenly bodies that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai has promised for us, man. But that changing, to make it to that point, it takes divine patience. Patience that not an ordinary mortal can obtain, man. Which the elect are not ordinary mortals, man. We are built different. And right now, we the hopeful elect. But if we strive to be the elect, and if we are the elect, and we make it into that chariot, we are built different, man. We are not like these everyday people. And that's why the elect is going to be the elect. All right? And your names are written in heaven. Your name is going to go down in history for eternity, man. Under the King of the universe, under Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. As a divine servant, man, of God, man. A divine servant of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, man. Okay? Romans 8:24, for we are saved by hope, but hope that is seen is not hope. For what a man seeth, why doeth he yet hope for? Yeah, so it all comes down to hope, man. Just believing in the victory. Believing that Yahweh Shai is coming back. Believing that the chip is about to be here. Believing in Jacob's trouble. Believing in the prophecies, man. Okay? And that's why the Lord has, you know, subjected us to hope. Because that's a godly attribute, man. That's what the Lord is looking for, man. Who has faith? Shall I find faith on earth? When the Lord comes, shall he find faith on earth? Majority of the earth is not going to have the faith. But we got the faith, man. Romans 8:25, for if we hope for that we see not, then do we with patience wait for it. Okay? So you got to have the vision, man. You have to have the vision. You have to believe. And if you have that hope, which goes hand in hand with that faith, then you're going to wait for it, no matter how long it takes, man. Because you truly believe at the end of the day. That's what it comes down to. Hey, Noah truly believed that it was going to fucking flood, man. Noah truly believed, man. He feared Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, man. He feared and he believed, and he went out there and started building, man. And that's what we doing. We out there building, man. We building a spiritual ark right now, man. Waiting for it to rain missiles. All right? And that faith and that hope and that belief that we have is going to lead us and lead you brothers and sisters to getting into a chariot, man. But you have to believe. You have to envision the prophecies. You have to believe, man. Let me grab this real quick. This is Hebrews 11 and 13. It says, these all died in faith, Yeah, right? Or the elder, the apostles, they believe, man. The 12 disciples that were turned apostles that were with Yahushua, they believed. And they didn't get the kingdom back in Yahushua's time. They were even asking Yahushua, are you going to restore the kingdom now? But there was so much prophecy that had to take place still. All right, Hebrews 11:13. These all died in faith, not having received the promise, but having seen them afar off, and were persuaded of them. So you have to have the vision. You got to be persuaded. Let every man be fully persuaded in his own mind. And if you truly are persuaded and truly believe down to the core, man, like you truly you know for a fact this is true. This is the truth. Then no matter how long it takes, you're going to endure that trial, man. Because you see the light at the end of the tunnel. You believe. All right, but it says, these died in faith, not having received the promise, but having seen them afar off, and were persuaded of them, and embraced them, and confessed that they were strangers and pilgrims on the earth. So we got to embrace the promises, man. Okay? We got to embrace the truth. All right? So let's go here now. James 1:2. All right, it says, my brethren, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations. So that's a part of this walk. You're going to be tempted, man. Prepare yourself for temptation when you come to serve Yahweh Shem Yahushua, as the scriptures say. All right? And even just being vexed, man. Your spirit just constantly crying out, man. That's heavy. That's something we got to fight for, man. That's the spirit. I think my menorah just came in. So that's the spirit calling Yahweh Shem Yahushua, man. But it says, James 1:2. My brethren, count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptations, knowing this, that the trial of your faith worketh patience, man. So your faith is on trial, man. And the Lord is going to constantly test our faith until we get into that chariot to see if we truly believe, see what we are made out of. So you're going to be put through different tests and trials and tribulations. You're going to be looked at crazy. All right? You're going to be hated. You're going to be despised. You're not going to fit into this world. But that's what makes you the elect. Verse 4, but let patience have her perfect work, that you may be perfect and entire, wanting nothing. Yeah, because when you just, look, man, we happy with what we got, man. The men of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, we happy with what we got. We ain't trying to be rich. We ain't, the Lord ain't making us poor, but we right where we need to be. Okay? To endure it into the end of this thing, man. Let me grab this. We getting ready to close this out. All right? Just going into the divine patience of Noah, man. Which we living in that wicked generation again. This is Noah, it's like your Matthew, Noah, Matthew 24 and verse 35. It says, heaven and earth shall pass away, but my words shall not pass away. So we have the Comforter. These words are going, this is a living book. A book of prophecy that tells you the future. The Lord left it for us. The words of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, right? Matthew 24 and 36. But of that day and hour knoweth no man, no, not the angels of heaven, but my Father only. So right there, nobody knows when we're getting out of here. All right? All we know is we got to fight until the Lord come back. All right? And we're full of hope that, 2026 going to be that year. That's our hope, that we get out of here, man. They bring this chip, but at the end of the day, if it don't come 2026, guess what? We going to hope 2027. And we just going to continue to live in that hope until the Lord bring the end. All right? We in this thing for the long haul, man. And brothers got to prepare for that. Are you ready to die for this thing? Are you ready to be in this thing for another 15, 20 years, if needs be? Which I don't think that's going to happen. I don't believe that's going to happen. I believe we're going to be out of here soon. But if you had to be, are you ready for that? The scriptures say, count the cost, man. Understand what you're a part of. We could be out of here next year. I believe, this shit going to start rolling big time next year. I believe we can be out of here next year. But are you prepared to be in this thing for the long haul? That's what it's going to come down to. Do you have that divine patience? And I'm speaking to myself first and foremost, man. We got to continue to remember these things. Don't sell yourself short, man. Okay? Let's stick to reality. And Jake don't like to hear it, but that's the truth. No man knows the day nor hour, man. The signs are all here, though. All right? The gospel has been preached to the four corners of the earth. We are at the end. All right? The end is being made manifest. I hope you understand the message I'm portraying through the Spirit, man. Just having patience. Matthew 24:37. But as the days of Noah were, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. And we represent Noah in this time, the prophets. People looking at us crazy. So we got to have the same. Let us obtain the patience of Noah. All right? 120 years he was out there, man. People calling him crazy, talking shit. Right? Until it started raining. Then he wasn't looking so crazy. Matthew 24:38. For as in the days that were before the flood, they were eating and drinking, marrying and giving in marriage, being wicked, right? Until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and knew not until the flood came and took them all away, so shall also the coming of the Son of Man be. So it's going to catch people off guard. Just like in the time of Noah, people was having a good time, partying, being wicked, committing adultery, idol worship, bugging out, being weird, right? Until Noah entered into the ark and that flood came and the Lord wiped them all away. That's the same thing that's going to happen in this time, man. They're going to roll this chip out, this new infrastructure, the mark of the beast. People going to take the chip. They're going to be eating and drinking. If you don't have the chip, you're going to be out of society. And when that chip comes, man, we counting down days before the missiles come. But that's how it's going to be. People going to be out here, living their life with a microchip. And in the snap of the fingers, one day you're going to wake up and that missile's going to fly, man. And the prophecy is going to be fulfilled. But we, as the scriptures say, he that shall endure unto the end, the same shall be saved, man. So we got to endure. Let us have the divine patience of the prophets, man. Of Noah. So with that, call Lord Yahweh Shemi Awashai, Lord willing, edifying to the hopeful elect. We're in this thing for the long haul, regardless of how long we got to be here. Continue to fight the good fight of faith. All right, Lord willing, we out of here soon. All right, and if you in the spirit, we're gonna be out of here soon, man. All right, so with that, call Lord Yahweh Shemi Awashai. Till next time, shalom.